Well, the pack that we're going to be looking at today is as crazy as the Colorado weather. Because yesterday it was almost 90 degrees. Today it's in the 60s, and I'm here for it. I'm ready. I got the hoodie on, already ready to rock and roll. What's going on, Gideonstactical crew? Hope you guys are well. And the pack that we're looking at today is like Tasmanian devil insane. It is wild, and that's why I wanted to see what it could do. We're looking today at the VERTX Siege series of packs, specifically the 25-liter day pack. They do have a sling bag that's a little bit smaller, but we're gonna be focusing on the day pack. And because of some of these, I'm going to say one-of-a-kind features, I wanted to see what the capabilities and limitations, because there are both on this design, in this bag. And I've had it for about 2 months now. I've been using it extensively. We did a road trip recently to the Colorado Southwest to kind of button up the summer before the kids went back to school. I used it as my EDC travel bag in all of those locations and areas, but also as just my day pack for hiking when we did family hikes throughout different locations, Great Sand Dunes, went to Telluride, did a lot of different stuff and packed a lot in, but then just, going across town and, going over to the coffee shop to do some work and whatever. So I've carried, survival equipment, med kits, but also, just general EDC, tablets, notepads, that type of stuff as well, to really get the gamut, I always forget how you say that. Anyway, of what this pack can and cannot do. And so we're gonna dive in, have a blast as we unpack what the Siege 25 brings to the table. If you're new, welcome, I'm Aaron. Let's go ahead and dive on in and have some fun. So right from the get-go, one of the most wild features that really intrigued me were these winged pockets on the shoulder straps. There are 2 of them, and the shoulder straps themselves and the yoke is really well designed. You got mesh all the way around. It's not going to bite in on your neck, because of the breathable mesh. You have a split vent with 2 mesh pads and one on the bottom. And what's going to happen is kind of twofold. One, the sternum strap is removable, and on a ladder system, that is what I prefer in case you don't want the sternum strap or you really want to lock it into place so it's not sliding all the time. But the wings actually cover up the clip points, and that can be a little tedious and a little annoying, like to kind of fidget and find. It's just, a little bug thing that I was like, eh. But the wings themselves are really interesting because we get YKK zippers, the whole pack, that's what it uses. And if you've never owned a VERTX, the quality of materials is always excellent, and that's no exception with this one. But you unzip that, and you have a huge pocket here. I mean, I have a 3.5-inch compact fixed blade, and you don't even know I'm carrying it. And you can put all kinds of other stuff and gear and equipment in there, say like mace, a spare mag, a walkie-talkie, I mean, you name it. And because the top of the pocket is pass-through, it means that you could also run like a hydration hose through the top and then hide the hose away so it's not flapping and slapping all over the place and getting dirty. Those covers on the mouthpiece always fall off and then you get grit on it. So this hides it away, and then you just open it up, pull it away. You got a little shock band in there as well. You can put a lot of gear in these 2 wings. Now, when we look at the side of the bag, there's some really good ideas and some things I'm like, I don't get this. The first thing I don't get is that we have these 3 looped stages that are perfect for MOLLE pouches, packs, things like that, medical kits that you could attach there, but it's a very narrow strand and only one. So it's really better suited for maybe like a carabiner type of thing that you're going to hook onto. But if I try to attach a small pouch for organization, there's not enough stability there with this one run. It's just going to be rocking and flapping all over the place and not going to be secure like other pieces of gear on this that we're going to talk about in a minute. So that's just dead space to me. I don't know why they did that. They should have had one more stage at least, and then I could get some organization. As we move on to the second stage here, we have a compression strap. Excellent. So you can cinch down the bag, open it up. And I really appreciate these for what I do as a videographer, because then I can lash my tripods to the pack better and they're not flopping all over the place. So that's really good and good placement. And then the water bottle pockets, which are ambidextrous, are mesh, durable mesh, and they actually are very high. This is a 32-ounce water bottle. It goes all the way up to the neck, so it's going to support bigger water bottles like your 48-ounce Nalgene's very well. It's not a shallow pocket, and they actually even folded it over and put an elastic band in there just to give you extra kind of support and rigidness around your water bottles, but also will be able to, again, handle something like a good-sized tripod, adding to the levels of versatility. Now, sizing in this bag really matters. Obviously, we know it's 25 liters worth of volume room, you know, to be able to carry gear and equipment, which I think is actually like really good for like day hiking and for general EDC. That's what it really fits in. But sizing, you know, I'm a 6'2" guy, so I'm bigger. And packs that are shorter from top to bottom than 18 inches, they don't usually fit my torso very well. This is 20 inches from top to bottom, fits my torso well. I didn't feel like it was too small for me, as we've talked about with the yoke. It does come with a belly strap. I removed that. It easily feeds out, so I don't really use those, but if that's something that's important to you, it does come with that. I've just stored that away. Now, one interesting thing that I had to get used to, I don't know if you're picking up on it, the way that the pack is designed, they have this third pad, you know, we have our 2 mesh pads here, this third pad, which kind of concaves on purpose backwards, like at an angle. And that's supposed to go into the small of your back and kind of contour the bag to your back. So it was something I had to get used to because I don't have a single other pack in my rotation. I've reviewed, I don't know, close to probably 100 packs by now over the last decade and more here at Gideonstactical. It's a thing you have to get used to. Did it hamper my usage of the pack? No. But I'm kind of like, oh, what's this? I mean, it changes your posture a little bit. It doesn't dig in and create any hot spots because it's just a big, you know, piece of mesh and foam. But it's something that I noticed. I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of like different. And when I first put it on, I was like, I don't know if I like this, but I got used to it through the week of travel that we did and now have become accustomed to that, but it's something to be aware of. Now, behind this laser cut molly wall is a really unique way to expand the bag and carry excess gear, and we'll get to that in just a second. But I want to touch on a few other just features, details, but also pricing and where you might be able to score this at a discount. Now, I have the black, there's coyote tan, and then there's wolf gray, kind of your standard, you know, tactical and low profile colors to choose from. That's why I went with black. There's more low profile. And when it comes to pricing, MSRP is about $215 to $220. I got this through one of our regular sponsors, LA Police Gear. They've been a sponsor for years. They're a great resource for all types of VERTX gear and tons of other good equipment and apparel. But right now, when I'm making this video, and I don't know how long it's going to run for, there's a sale where this is $200, but I have my exclusive 10% off promo code. I did it through checkout. It's $180 right now for this bag when I'm making this video. So that's a limited pricing. So if you're interested, that promo code, that link over to LA Police Gear will be in the description box below, and that'll just save you guys a little extra scratch if you're interested, not only in this bag, but other gear and equipment. You know, that's the hoodie I'm wearing today. Their sun hoodie is excellent for these edge months, you know, when the temperatures are changing and you want something that's not super heavy and that you can do different activities and go hiking. I used it when we went backpacking in Wyoming recently. Excellent. So that'll all be included below, and that's just a way that you could potentially, if this feels to be checking the boxes for you, save yourself a little extra cash. Now, how about this stash pocket? Now, as you see here, it's cinched down. I can still stick my hand in there. The bottom is fully enclosed and kept so nothing's gonna fall out the bottom. You know, it's not just a panel with an open bottom. But you can disconnect these two. It has plenty of nylon, so you can open it up wider. And there's this huge winged mesh. So it kind of swings open to one side. And then you can put all the way up to like a tactical helmet, if that's what you need, or something in there. Bike helmet, maybe climbing helmet, if you're, you know, a rock climber, something like that. And all types of other big bulky pieces of gear, and it's going to fit in there. And it's just a kind of interesting, unique way. Most have, you know, clips on both sides, and then it's sewn on the bottom. This is going to fully expand into a big pocket, dump pocket, and then obviously cinches away, and it's pretty streamlined if you're not going to do that. And I know with this laser molly wall, you guys are probably like, what the heck is that, you know, nylon pouch there that you have that's holding on a leather sheath? This is a DIRK sheath adapter. It's just 2 pieces of nylon and Kevlar, and that is through Full Tank Tactical. I found them at Blade Show, an American company. It doesn't use any hardware, just shock cord, and then it can be attached to your belt, molly wall, you know, shoulder straps, whatever you want. Really cool way to carry blades. So I'll link that. I know you guys are always curious. You're like, what the heck, you know, what is that? And I've gotten a lot of curiosity lately since I've started using that on a lot of my blades, and that's a good way just to mount different fixed blades if you want. So as we move along, part of the reason why I believe they did that is over here on the side, we have a concealed carry compartment. Now, it has an extra long pull tab that you can pull so that you know, like, that's my concealed carry compartment. Velcro panel back in there, definitely large enough for larger framed sidearms, whatever else maybe that you want. That's quick pull. That is on when you're carrying it on the left side of the bag. It's not pass through. It's only on one side that you're going to gain access to that. You can take that larger tab off if you want. You can put it on a different pocket maybe if you wanted to pull tab on something else. Now, carrying, you know, a firearm in your bag is a very controversial thing. I usually do not unless it's a fanny pack, and I rarely do that, or a chest pack, and that's only when I'm like hiking. Here we have a singular zip with kind of a flap to just protect against the rain and things like that, and that is going to be a very large, and this has fleece lined pocket, great for sunglasses, eyewear, your smartphone, whatever, and that is very cavernous. It's very, very large. No key keeper in here. There's no key keeper on the exterior. There is one on the interior that we'll look at here in just a second. Now, the main compartment is easily filleted open to a full clamshell, and here's another Tasmanian devil wild aspect. We have great running YKK zippers that have a loop for luggage lock, so if that's something that you're concerned about, you're traveling, you know, you're concerned about it being opened up by accident, whatever. But there's a second set of zippers. So there's 4 zippers on the main compartment, one on each side at the bottom, where you can zip up and then gain access to gear on the bottom of the bag without having to completely fillet open the bag. I like that. That is cool, and that I think adds to the versatility. So you could actually even luggage lock the top and have access to the bottom. Most people aren't going to know that that's a feature. You know, you can do that. So excellent in that regard. Now, when we open up the bag itself, on the back wall there is where all of the tiny organization happens. You have a mesh hook and loop back. I keep saying mesh, hook and loop back, so that you can attach different pieces of gear with a zipper pocket. That's where the key keeper is. You can put a smartphone, put your keys, wallet, stuff like that in there. And then you're going to have lines for pens or thin flashlights, things like that. And then you have another pocket with different divider sizes. And then if you flip it over, you got another hook and loop. That's where you can put mesh organizers like a survival kit, med kit. That's what I did on those. Those are VERTX. The gray and red is a VERTX mesh pack organizer. The orange one for the med, I always get the questions. It's a VanQuest collapsible, both very lightweight but very durable. I'll link both of those. All the stuff we're talking about, it's all in the description box throughout this video. And so that all works together. Then you have sleeve compartments in there for tablets. I'll annotate in what size computer they estimate. And then you can also have your attachment for a water bladder. I'm not a fan of water bladders. I rarely use them. I usually use my hard side stuff. But if you are running that, it does have 2 internal ports on either side that you can run your water bladder hose, and the hanger that can easily handle 100 ounces of water. Well, guys, I've tried to hit as much as I can. I know I've missed a few things. You know, this will be able to handle like level 3 body armor, plates, all kinds of different stuff. And overall, this is one of the wildest backpacks I have ever seen in this size range. If you want sling bags, again, obviously that's an option that you can dig into as well. But I think that what VERTX is bringing to the table is something very unique. You know, it's not just a cookie cutter. Yep, here's another kind of like low profile EDC tactical bag. This is going to give you concealability. I think like those pockets again as well. Like, you know, if you're worried about concealability, quick access to certain defensive tools, things like that, it's going to do some of those things and give you a lot of uniqueness. There are some kind of weird wonkiness that you either are going to tolerate with some of the features and kind of designing, or it might just make more sense to stay with the kind of tried and true classic design backpack. I want to know from you guys, what do you think about the layout and the features of this? Does it make sense for you? You're kind of like, this is totally like goofy. Always appreciate your guys' feedback, especially if you own the Siege already. How has it been performing for you in the long run? And do you like this capability in the way that you use your gear? Always appreciate you guys' time and hanging out with me today. I hope it's been fun and entertaining. Check out the other videos, subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.